A message to his other woman, heart to heart, message from a woman to another. You don't know me, but I know you. Not by name, not by face, not by the sound of your voice or the scent you leave behind. But I know the space you take up in a man I once thought was mine. I know the shadow of you, how you linger in places I used to call home. I know the tremble in his voice when he lies without blinking, how his touch shifted from sacred to distant, how his eyes stopped looking at me like I was the only one. This isn't a letter of anger, nor a blade sharpened by bitterness. This is not a war cry. It is a release, a message from one woman to another, because we have both been her, the one who loved him, or thought we did. And perhaps you believe he is yours. Perhaps he whispered sweet truths, dipped in honey and half light. Perhaps he looked at you the way he once looked at me. Maybe he made you feel seen, felt, wanted. And I will not shame you for that. We all crave the softness of belonging, the warmth of being chosen. But I wonder, did he tell you I existed before you? Did he tell you my name with reverence? Or did he bury it under silence? Did he hold your hand with guilt-stained fingers? Did you see the fracture in his heart? Or did he polish it with stories about a love that somehow fell apart? Woman to woman. Have you ever felt the ghost of another woman in the room with you? In his sighs, his habits, the way he says I love you, like he's repeating a script. I was her, before you. I was the one who washed his wounds with my tears, who stayed up nights praying he'd return whole. I gave him my peace, my strength, my faith, until I had nothing left to give. He did not walk away from a cold house. He did not leave because I stopped loving him. He left because love, even when sacred, was not enough for a man searching for pieces of himself in the arms of another. You may be holding his hand now. You may be laughing at jokes he once told me. You may believe you have something new, untouched, unblemished. But I must ask you gently, when a man comes to you carrying the bones of his last promise, what makes you think he will build a future that doesn't collapse the same way? This is not a curse. This is not a prophecy. This is a truth I bled for. We are women, made of moonlight and memory, of ache and resilience. And I am not here to fight you. I am not here to win him back. I am here to honor myself, to speak aloud the words I once swallowed. I was enough. I am enough. Even if he didn't choose me. Even if he whispered love into your ears while forgetting the vows he made to mine. You didn't steal him. He was not a prize to be stolen. He was a man who chose. And though your paths have crossed with mine in ways we may never fully understand, you are not my enemy. You are not the wound. He is the hand that made the cut. But even still, I wish you peace, because I know the weight of loving someone who carries ghosts. I know the confusion of trying to become home for someone who is always wandering. And I know how it feels to fight for a man who won't fight back. So if he's with you now, really with you, I pray he learns to stay, to show up fully, to tell the truth even when it shakes, to love you cleanly, without echoes of past rooms still ringing in his voice. And if he doesn't, If one day you find yourself lying awake beside a man whose heart is absent even while his body is near, if you begin to feel yourself fading, trying to keep him close, remember me. Remember this voice, this woman who once believed she could love him whole. And let it remind you, you deserve more. We both did. So from my heart to yours, not as rivals, not as stories twisted in his wake, but as women, I offer you grace, because we are not each other's enemy. We are both just trying to survive the wreckage of a man who did not know how to build. But I am building now, brick by brick, piece by piece, and maybe you are too, or maybe your building starts today. Either way, I forgive him, and I forgive myself, and I release you. I release the weight of comparison, the need to know why, the ache to be chosen again. I was always the choice, even if he couldn't see it. And so are you. Let this be the last tear I shed for a man who didn't know what to do with the love of a woman who would have walked through fire just to keep him warm. I am free now, and I hope someday you will be too.